Good afternoon, Mr. Da Costa. How are you today, sir?
Well, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. So, is it okay for you to answer some questions?
Well, that's okay. Sir, you can ask me anything.
Okay, here we go. I'll ask you some questions, Mr. Da Costa. Okay, here we go. Can you see things, Mr. Da Costa, at the moment when you're brought to the pendulum?
Actually, no. Actually, I was ill at that moment when I was extremely suffered. All my senses were doomed. I lost in a deep, endless, hopeless. When I realized my body was not actually functioning properly, all I can remember is that I saw the white lips of the judge murmuring in a voice of a thunder lightning upon the sky.
Okay. So, well, Mr. Da Costa, what can you tell me when you're tied to the woods when the pendulum was coming down?
Well, actually, for a while I stayed calm and stared above. All I can see the motion, a waving pandemonium from the edge to the other edge in the prison when I heard a thick sound of a tiny animals. I glared to my side and I saw a ball of wild rats watching upon my movement. They were waiting for my motionless, hoping if I passed out soon, they would actually have me as their nutrition. And I've seen what my eyes had ever seen through my lifetime since a mother gave me a birth as a child. And I have heard what a terrible sound that I had never known. Such a soulless place, such a terror place, pulling away all my boldness and actually leaving me barely with a fearful mind. Actually, that was the moment where I knew that's the answer for my days. A wise plan had been made for me to roam with the demons through the dark side of unknown bizarre place in human history.
Okay. Were you comfortable, Mr. Da Costa, when they tied you to the woods?
Actually, I wasn't comfortable.
Okay. So, Mr. Da Costa, at that time when you're at the pendulum, how was your meal conditions? Was it comfortable, Mr. Da Costa? Were you able to use your hands?
Actually, I was untied beneath my elbow to my shoulder so that I could just swing my arm back and forth to reach my meal and grab it. I suffered with a long agony. I was in no mood. I couldn't even imagine what the time could be. Couldn't even able to see rise of the sun and it is set.
Okay, Mr. Da Costa. Sounds like you had a pretty bad time there. Okay, can you describe how the room looked like, Mr. Da Costa, you were in?
Well, that was the bad moment of my time. Actually, well, it was dark and slimy. The size of it was as high as a mountain. Its wall was sealed with an iron metals that not even a beast on this planet can tear them apart. As I walk across, its dark wall hisses in a deadly voice, as if the demons were howling among the mountains. It is most paint. It is most paint. Its most paint on the wall were like a hell. It was human skeletons, demons' eyes, and even a great, fearful fires flashing upon it. That almost it feels if I were living in hell, surrounding with this terrible atmosphere. It was impossible, actually.
Okay, Mr. Da Costa. Now on to the fifth question. Can you tell me how was your first escape, Mr. Da Costa?
Actually, the part was when I realized the blade gets closer and closer to my chest every single moment while I was untied on my back, and until at last it faces me very closely that I could even smell its metal rush through my nostril as it holds across my chest. Then, when at last I took and wrapped the leftover of my food with the belt that were used to bind me, there gathered upon me the countless numbers of wild rats. Then I stayed calm and motionless. Then the belt came loose, and finally I was free. But as you know, yet the hell was ahead of me.
Okay, Mr. Da Costa, I have one last question for you. Can you tell me about the last escape, Mr. Da Costa?
Actually, suddenly the pictures on the wall were getting more red. It seems if the iron were burning behind the wall. But at this time, the shape of the prison was completely changed. Now it's acute. The rapid increase of the burning iron set the wall on fire, which means no longer can I touch it with my body. It was very hot, and the metal wall was moving toward me so that I could get squished in the middle of it. That unforgettable moment when I thought there will be no last escape for me. Therefore, it was well choice that I'm falling into the demon's hole that lay just close to my bed. When finally the wall stood very closely, face to face toward me, I I fell, and when I fainted, then the arm caught me and pulled me out as I fell. Actually, well, it was General Lasalle, the French army who entered the Toledo.
Okay, Mr. Da Costa, nice talking to you. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, me too, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.